Hello and welcome to the Super Simple Planning Masterclass. Now, I've got a presentation already. See videos insights. I've got a presentation already, and there is a share screen button on Facebook. So I've had a look at that, but it's not coming up as an option just now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the masterclass clearly, because that's what I've promised to do, and I will add the slides in. I'll upload those as a file and see if I can put the link here. So first of all, hello and welcome to Super Simple Planning. I'm Karen Mary Wilson from Quest for Success, which you'll know if you're on the page here. And what I'd like, if when you watch the replay, is go ahead and put in the comments who you are and what your business is, and you can share a little bit about yourself, and then I can help you better as we move forward. I have another masterclass planned for next week with some more information to build on what we're going to do today, so that would help me help you best. So I do my best work with bullies, executives who are being bullied in the boardroom. Of course, it's not called bullying when it gets to that level. It gets called all manner of other things. And ideally, I would be redundant. There would be absolutely no bullying at all, but it does exist. So in able to prevent that, I teach people how to stand up for themselves, how to speak up for themselves, how to show up as themselves, and how to shine at being themselves without ego, arrogance, and manipulation, so that they don't ever have to take on board the bullying that's directed at them from another person. So what does planning have to do with that? Well, to be able to stand up for yourself and speak up for yourself and show up fully as yourself and shine, then you need to know what it is you're going towards, what you're trying to achieve, and why you're trying to achieve it. There's that very 80s adage of there's no use climbing the ladder of success to find out it's been up against the wrong wall. And the way that I undertake planning is in a very natural process, which is what I'm going to share with you today. One that we're supported by, because we don't need another thing to do. We don't need another thing to learn. If you're really excellent at being an accountant, if you're excellent at being a lawyer, if you're excellent at offshore shipping, if you're excellent at fulfillment, if you're excellent at recovery, if you're excellent at social media, if you're excellent at HR, if you're excellent at all of these other things, it doesn't necessarily mean that planning is going to come naturally and easily to you, but it also doesn't mean that you want to learn a whole different language in how to do it. And there are so many planners out there and systems which I've probably tried and tested on your behalf, because I do love it. I love having a goal to work towards, and most of all achieving it for the right reasons. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. So yes, please do go ahead and put in the comments when you watch the masterclass back a little bit about yourself, and if you'd like to put some links to some where we can find you, that would be excellent. So the first thing we're going to look at is why plan at all. And I've been listening to Danielle Laporte since I created this material. She kept me company on the way home this morning. I was driving. Now you could say that was quite literally. I don't it sounds as if she was in the passenger seat next to me, and of course she wasn't, but my audiobook was, and she's kept me company, and she was talking about goal setting that Bruce Lee has said, and some goals are not meant to be achieved, and which reminded me then of the adage from the wonderful Jim Rohn. Hello, who's joining me? Go ahead and say hello, who you are, in the comment box, and I can answer any and all of your questions today, right here, right now on the masterclass. Yes, so Jim Rohn says, create a goal so big, not for what the goal will give you, but who you become in achieving those goals. So there's a lot of information that could bombard us absolutely about goal setting and how you do it. So why have a goal and why plan to achieve it at all? And I think that it depends on the type of person you are. Some people couldn't give a hoot about goals. Some people are like a bull in a china shop about goals. And most people are somewhere in the middle. They understand that having a goal would make their life easier. It would make their daily decisions a lot easier. So therefore it would make their life a lot less stressful. They could be a lot more in alignment and a lot more with flow. So there's lots of benefits for it. It's just, do they make the time to do that? So that's a bit itsy pixie. But if we don't have a plan, then we're never going to achieve it. So it's very much true. If you fail to plan, you are indirectly and directly planning to fail, because hope is not a strategy. Hope is a swear word. Like, I hope to grow my business to X amount of revenue, X amount of clients, X amount of products, X amount of service. But if I have no plan to underpin that, then that's just audacity. That's like, who do I think I am to set out for those goals and not bother my backside to put plan in and support them? So absolutely. So whether you think that you are achieving a goal or you're not, if you don't have a plan, you are definitely planning to fail. And it's like, it's a cliche, but you know what? Cliches don't become cliches for no good reasons. They become cliches because they're true, because there's evidence behind them, because that's people's experience. And then we say, don't like that, it's just a cliche. Well, we created as a generalization that cliche in the first instance. Now, also back in the 80s, showing my age, is the 7 Ps. Now, it didn't start out as 7 Ps. It started out as maybe 3 Ps or 5 Ps. But the way I was taught it, it was 7 Ps. And these Ps are proper planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. So basically, you know, you might be brilliant at what you do. Like I said, you could be brilliant at an accountant. You could be brilliant at HR. You can be brilliant at all manner of things. But if you just rock up hoping to wing it, you will be successful on a couple of those times, but it will not be sustainable. So on an ongoing basis, that's not going to help you at all. It's not going to help you achieve your goals at all. So bear in mind the 7 Ps. And finally, I'm just a bit discombobulated with the why this isn't screen sharing and being sure that I'm delivering this, because this is really quite excellent. And even if you just say, Karen was a bit discombobulated at the beginning there because the recording of the system has thrown her, and it took me 2 sound checks, but never mind. Just take away these bullet points, just take away these nuggets, ruminate on them, journal on them, think about them, have a conversation with yourself on the way home from anywhere you're driving to next about them, and ask yourself, you know, do I have a plan? And how good is that plan? How solid is that plan? Is it a true plan? Is it a plan I could show somebody? Is it a plan that is not like anally retentive in its detail, but is it strong enough to support the goal that I've set for? And if I don't have one, am I already sabotaging myself? And we are the most reasonable people we know. So we'll have reasons and justifications to say, well, you know, I don't have time for the plan, or last year's plan worked for me just fine, or I'm usually quite good at my plans, or my plans often work out for me. And there's some truth in that if we're going to look at the law of attraction, but that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about having a plan. So if you could say, well, I'm not sabotaging myself, I'm not planning to fail because I've got all of these reasons, but we actually substitute the word excuses. We can say, well, how am I being a leader in my field, in my family, in my industry, in my sector, in my organization, if I don't have a vision for this year, or I haven't taken the big vision that I have for my overarching life and put that down into what step am I going to take on that this year? So within that, let's do some proper planning and preparation, not, like I say, anally retentive planning and preparation, but let's just do some solid one, and let's do that naturally in alignment, because there's the third saying, and I have to put this in 3s, specifically is, if I had 5 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the saw. Now, those numbers might be slightly different, but the principle is the same. The principle is the same. If we have a goal that we want to achieve, it's only right and proper that we spend some time putting in place a plan to achieve that. You don't just rock up at some people do, rock up at the airport and say, right, I wonder where we can go today. But they still have a plan. Their plan is based on the 6 human needs, certainty and uncertainty. They're certain that they need a holiday, but they are uncertain where that's going to be. They're certain that they're going to need their passport. They're uncertain if they're going to need a visa. They're certain that they'll need a variety of clothing given the type of holiday they have. They're also uncertain if they've got the right amount, but then they're not really bothered because they can get some more when they're out there. So we don't really do anything without any planning and preparation. So how can we expect 2018 to be amazing without any planning and preparation? So why plan at all? Because this is your life. I was going to work out the data So I'm just going to go with what seems reasonable right now. So I'm 47, and if I live to be 80, that gives me 33 years. So I'm quite sure I could set myself like 33 goals to achieve one a year and have an amazing life. I could have a nice life and a good life without goals, but when I get to the end, am I going to have any regrets? And that's also what we want to do while we're here, is to have an amazing time while we have this experience of being a human being here on earth. So why plan at all? So that you can just enjoy everything that this super fabulous world has to offer. It's got amazing people, amazing places, amazing views, amazing travel, amazing education, amazing opportunity, amazing connections. There is so much that we can take advantage of, and to be able to do that is to be able to say, right, okay, what would I love? What would bring me most joy? What do I hope for throughout the rest of my 33 years that I can start work on today and just be amazing? So let's have a look then. If you've got any questions, comments, anything at all on the subject of why plan at all, then please do. So if you don't want to put them in the comments and you want to send me a private email or a private message, do go ahead and do that as well. But let me know what your thoughts and experiences have been of planning. Is there a great planning system that you've used and works for you and you want to share with others? Is there one that you've tried and not quite sat with? Because whilst there's some amazing ones out there, I've tried them all. I've had a Leonie Dawson planner, which I love for the creativity, but that doesn't translate to me on a daily basis. I love a passion planner, but again, that's still a little bit restrictive. I found freedom in the bullet journal, but I found I've tried all the other ways. I've done Entrepreneurs on Fire. I've done 100-day goal planning. I've got the book on the 12-week year. And so over my life, I've done lots and SMART goals and all sorts of other bits and pieces. And what it comes down to is actually finding the right one that fits you. So this is an N=1 experiment. So the experiment is N, and the number of participants in this experiment is 1, and that is you. So we are finding your perfectly super simple plan that looks like you, that feels like you, that sounds like you, that inspires you. So you can say, look, I've got these. You may have more or less than 33 years, but I'm going to have an amazing life and I'm going to achieve these goals in it. And we're going to start with that. So tell me what you think about why plan at all. Okay, so the most tried and tested successful method of planning that I found dates back to the Stone Age. And this is when we started to settle. And one of the very first goals that was set by us as human beings is the desire to stay safe. Now that can sound pretty boring when I've just described what an amazing opportunity we have living on this fantastic planet. But they had the tools now so they could settle, and there was the availability of wild and domestic grain and produce, and wild and then more and more domesticated animals. So we stopped having to travel to chase that pack for food. We stopped having to forage for berries and for plants and other things. We could now start to create a community and a civilization that looked like us and felt like us. And so their goal really every year was be able to feed themselves, feed, house and clothe themselves so they could survive. That's the very first goals that were pretty much set, because otherwise they were going to have to go back to following the food, whether that be wild or domesticated animals or wild and domesticated grain. That's what they needed to do. And what we did at that time is we followed a system of planning that went via the natural seasons, the natural cycle of things. We knew, we knew that when we had to plough, we knew when we had to sow, we knew when we had to nurture, we knew when we had to harvest, we knew when we had to rest. And this all came by learning, by settling and by experience, by working out how long the year was. The year went from let's take yesterday then. Yesterday was, as you know, the winter solstice. So how long did it take to get from one winter solstice to another winter solstice? That's how we started measuring the years. And that went from when is the sun at the lowest point in the sky. So for us, we're in the northern hemisphere. So that will be the opposite for in the southern hemisphere. So when they are doing the the summer solstice is when is the sky at the highest, sun is the highest point in the sky, and we're measuring the lowest point. How long does it take to go round so it becomes back again to the highest and lowest points in the sky? So we started to measure a year by that. We started to then measure the days by how long is it between sunset and sunrise and sunset. That's our day. And so we know that we have, before sunrise we have dawn, and after sunset we have twilight, but that's not how the day was officially measured. So the day is a period of time that we can do the work. And then we were measuring the moons, and the moons were how long did it take for that moon to do a complete cycle. And that's how we were measuring. And with that in mind, we could achieve this goal of being settled, of being safe, of being housed, of being clothed, and of being fed. And there's some pretty amazing goals, and they haven't changed much over the 15,000 years that we've been doing this. Now we've added a lot more material things in. You might like a Ferrari, you might like to break that glass ceiling, you might want to travel the world, you might want to cruise, you might want to donate all your money to charity, you want to be like Andrew Carnegie and spend the first half of your life amassing money and the second half of your life giving it away. You might want to open a foundation like Bill and Melinda, is it Melinda or Melissa Gates? You all have your own hopes and dreams, but what we do as human beings, because we've come so fast as a society, everything is such a short attention span. And as a tangent, one of my favorite movies is It's a Wonderful Life. And I say favorite movies, it's one of my customs and ceremonies that I do watch every Christmas Eve. And they wouldn't make that today. The scenes are too long. Hollywood has told us as consumers that we have an attention span of, like, what is it, up to 45 seconds a scene, and then we have to move on to another scene. It's not, we don't get the, we're not given the respect that we're an intelligent human audience member, that we like stories, that we like to be able to understand. It's like fast, and all of the Facebook algorithm changes are very much like, we can't put everything you might possibly like in your feed, so we keep weeding it out and we're going to tell you what it is. So society is driving us so fast that we think that we are superhuman. And so what we do then is that we then think, I'm superhuman, I can achieve all of these goals, and we massively overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year, and we massively underestimate what we can achieve in 10. So what we're focusing on now, we're focusing on actually having a really excellent, solid 3 goals that we want to achieve in 1 year. And we want to achieve them naturally by the way that we've known to do it. Because even though society has become much quicker, and we've gone through stone and bronze and copper and iron, and we're now where we are post-industrial age, our bodies and our physiology haven't, well, they've changed loads, but we've still got those basic instincts. We've still got fight and flight. Our brain still needs time to store information, to make sure our filters are working. Our body, our physiology still needs to work in the same manner. So society might have changed, but we change much more slower than society. So if we take things that we've always known to be true, that have always served us well, that are always tried and tested, and apply them to the goals and dreams that we have for ourselves, then we can achieve amazing things in that 1 year. So any questions and comments, any concerns like, Karen, you're going backwards, or that will never work, or you don't understand my life, I've got 24 dozen million hats on. And if you think that that's true, I did a question and answer over in my group, the Executive Strategy Room, and the question was, what do I do when I beat myself up because I keep dropping all the balls? And so go ahead and have a look at that, because that answers that question. I do absolutely understand that you'll have a lot on your plates, and this is just one extra thing, which is actually why we are doing it super simple. Why we're doing it super simple. So first of all, it's super simple. Have a plan. Right? So that's really easy. Have a plan. The second thing is, let's make this plan one that's supported us for thousands of years. That is super simple. Let's not reinvent that wheel. Let's not buy this planner or that shiny object. And there are some gorgeous ones, I admit it. But just get a notebook, right? That's really super simple. And let's say, okay, I'm going to trust this process because the process has always worked. Always worked, and I'm going to move to the next step. So any comments, questions, compliments, concerns, quandaries, anything else you want at all, put them in the comments box when you watch the replay, and or private message me or email, however you want to communicate and converse with me, and let me know what your thoughts are on this area. That would be fantastic. So pretty you can't see this. It's a lovely winter sceney weather. So let's have a look then at the natural phases of a successful plan. And this natural phase of the successful plan started yesterday. It starts with winter. Now, I did record quarterly planning day for the winter work that we'll be doing, and I recorded that on the 15th of December. So I am going to put a link to that below, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, because that was a whole day, and that too breaks it down a little, also very simply and very easy, with a little more information and a little more, well, a lot more detail about how you choose your goals. And so I was speaking yesterday to a lady how we start with what is and isn't natural about planning, and we move on to this time of year, why planning is this time of year, what's historic, what traditions and rituals did we have. And out of our high days and holy days that have been adopted by organized religion, Christmas and or winter is the one that most represents what we did for all of those tens of thousands of years. All of the symbolism, all of the ceremony, all of the custom, it's very, very, very similar. It's not being changed too much, obviously, until we get to the Santa Claus story. That's completely different, but that's a whole other conversation. And there's also planning involved in that, and like the return of the light, so the return of your hopes, the return of your dreams, the return of your goals. What would you like to bring forward? And then we move into the Christmases that we've had. Christmas wasn't decided till about 400 AD. So for the last 1500 years, also about that. What are we doing at this time? If we've still for the last few days in the season of Advent, and so it's coming, but what's coming? The return of the light. So when the light returns, or the return of the sun, what do you want to be? What are your hopes? What peace do you want to have going forward? What brings you joy? What brings you love? So we look at all of that, and then we put it down into quarters. So I'm going to discuss with them what those quarters are for you now, for your goals. So yesterday we started with setting our intentions. So I know that it's like, Karen, you must be joking if I'm setting any intentions on the 21st of December, because Christmas is 4 days away. Now remember, Christmas was placed here and because it's the closest they could get to yesterday's traditional holiday, where we would naturally make our plans. So, but when we naturally make our plans, it doesn't say, right, that's it, my plans are made right now, so I'm off to achieve them right now. That isn't what it is. It's right now we're setting our intention. So we are doing that planning work. So it's like, what are we going to put in that plan? What do we want to achieve? And does that plan and goal belong to me? It's, I feel it, my intention in my body. And you'll know if your goal or your plans that you are setting belongs to somebody else, because they don't sit right with you, because they're not yours. You're doing it out of obligation. You're doing it out of responsibility. You're doing it out of duty, all of those things. So if, as I said, I'm going to put the link to Quarterly Planning Day in below. But first of all, for these next few weeks, while we have Christmas and while you have the season of goodwill, who are you spending that time with? Who would you love to spend more time with next year? Who would you not like to spend more time with next year? What would you like? People are talking about their hopes and dreams. What would you like to take on board for you? What would you not like to take on board for you? But between now and the 1st of February, we've got approximately 6 weeks, and that is the time now to set your intention and to feel that intention in my body. So we've actually got 6 weeks to create a goal. And if you think about it, if we've got 52 weeks to achieve our goal, and I'm actually going to ask you to consider achieving your goal in about 40 weeks. But even if we've got 40 weeks to achieve our goal, and you take the first 6 to set that goal really, really, really well, then you're going to have the most excellent opportunity of achieving that goal. You really are. So we're spending this time right now in making sure we've got the right goal. And if you want to know about the right goal, then I suggest you have a look at Quarterly Planning Day. And we actually set 3 goals. We set our physical goal, because we have a physical body to look after, to give us the energy to achieve those goals, to give us the enjoyment. So are we fit enough to travel? Are we not fit enough to travel? Are we fit enough to break a glass ceiling? Are we not fit enough? So where do we get the energy from? How do we physically deliver on those goals? And this isn't about size or shape or ability or inability or differences or anything at all. It's all about that n=1. What does it look like and feel like to you? What does your physical best look like for you? Because within our 168 hours a week that we get 52 of each year, we spend a third of those asleep. And asleep, like I say, our bodies hasn't changed much. We need that sleep because we need to rest and restore so that we can go out with the energy and the enthusiasm and the motivation and the inspiration to achieve our goals. Our brains need to rest. We need to put away the information of that day. We need to store it properly. We need to not have a knee-jerk reaction when we're faced with some curveball that's going to come to us. So we set ourselves a physical goal, a physical health goal, a sleep goal, a health goal, whatever you want to do it. A third of your life is sleeping. We set our goal there. Then with the rest of our day, with that 122 hours we have that week, out of that, we give some of those hours to our work. We say, this is what I'd like to do with my day. This is how I'd like to share my expertise, how I'd like to share my talents. This is how I take myself to the marketplace. So we set a goal for that. And that's the one we focus a little more on in Quarterly Planning Day. But get your goal for that. And again, we took everything, we brainstormed everything that we hoped and dreamed for and came all the way down to choosing one work goal. And is one work goal difficult to choose? You absolutely bet. But you choose a brilliant work goal. We're not sick, then you're going to have a ball this year achieving it. Because that's what our next plans are going to do, is to work on achieving it. And it's not a goal, for example, like I'm going to, well, it can be any goal you want. And we've set the goal in, is it a monetary number for you? Is it a product number for you? Is it a level of success for you? What is it for you? But all of those, let's say your goal is going to be you're a dressmaker and you want to sell 1,000 dresses, then that's the goal. But we haven't said you must do it all on Facebook or you must do it all in a designer shop. They're all options to achieve that goal that we're going to look at later on in the year. Right now, we're just setting the goal. And then once we've given some of those 122 hours, and we've maybe given 35, 40, 45, maybe if we've got some commuting time, to what we love to do each day, we've chosen a life goal. And even though we've just chosen one life goal, you can really massively guarantee that you're going to achieve lots of other goals within that. You're going to achieve lots of minor physical health goals. You're going to achieve lots of little additional work goals. You're going to achieve lots more life goals. But we're just focusing on the one goal in the one area, because otherwise, if you are focusing on lots of goals, you're going to be scattered and you're not going to have the energy. And think about these Stone Agers. They were building their community right there. They weren't thinking, oh, I think I'll develop a new town the other side of the hill. Not right now. They weren't doing that. They were just staying where they are, and they were keeping the energy focused, because focus, follow one course until successful. Once we've achieved that, let's say we achieve our goal in 6 weeks. Right, well, then we'll set another one. But let's set ourselves a goal that we could miss, like Bruce Lee says, but what it makes us, just like Jim Rohn, reach for the moon and you'll end up in the stars. Big goals that are encompassing, but that when you wake up every morning, you say, yes, I get an opportunity to go for this goal. So get them and feel them in your body. They must belong to you. And you've got 6 weeks to do that. 6 weeks to get really good quality goals in your body. Then from the first intention, we start to release into that. Now, from Quarterly Planning Day, we're starting work on who we need to be to achieve our goals. So from the 1st of February, I release into my intention, I breathe. So that is the same things, like who do I need to be? Like if my goal is to sell 1,000 dresses, who do I need to be? Do I need to be the designer and the seamstress? Do I need to be the marketer? Do I need to be the accountant? Do I need to be the buyer? Do I need to be, but also, do I need to be focused? Do I need to be organized? Do I need to be disciplined? Do I need to be creative? Do I need to be blinkered, so because you've got your designs in your heart, so you don't take on board everyone else's view is like, oh, you should choose a different fabric. So do we need to be protected from other people's negativity? What do you need to be? And that's what we're working on. So it's also like, right, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm breathing, I'm ready to do that, taking deep breaths, I'm ready to do this. What do I need to do? And we think about it, we're still in winter, and in winter we're not meant to be working the land. The land is locked. The land is either so swampy that you can't dig it, or it's got that frozen ice cap like we had -8, and it's like, it's so solid, there's no amount of, even if you could get an industrial digger to penetrate that ice cap, there's nothing really you can do here anyway. There's no results, or it's covered in snow, and so you've got to get through that snow. That's like, it's got, so the earth, winter has a cap. We are not meant to be working the earth right now, so we are not directly working on our goals right now. We are indirectly working on our goals. We're doing underneath that weather lock that the earth has put on its soil. The soil is resting, the soil is renewing, the soil is replenishing, all being well. We might have stripped the backside out of it and nutrients, but for us, it's like we're doing the internal work. We're making sure that we have got that plan. That plan is our plan. We've got an N=1 plan. It's true to us. It's nobody else's plan. And I'm getting myself ready to do that work. I am breathing. I'm doing the being work. Hello, lovely. And we're moving into phase 2. So phase 2 is I release into my intention and I breathe in. We get 6 weeks to do that work as well. So you could be starting to panic now, and you could be saying, oh, I'm 12 weeks into my, hi lovely, 12 weeks into my plan and I haven't physically done any work yet. Well, maybe you haven't physically done any work yet, but you've done all of the planning and the preparation work. Remember, planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. So if you want to go, you know, right, I've written my plan today, I'm going to achieve it tomorrow, then this isn't for you. But if you want to do a good plan and you want to have the resources, you want to have the skills, you want to know that your talents are in alignment, then we'll take this time to do the plan naturally, because this is super simple planning. This is tried and tested. This is what we're doing. So from the 1st of February, we then go to the middle of March, and it's not rocket science, it coincides with spring. I take discerning action to support my intention. That's the 3rd phase. I take discerning action to support my intention. So what this says here is you're now taking the right action. You're not taking too much, you're not taking too little. You're not ploughing 14 fields when you only need 3. You're not ploughing 3 fields when you need 14, because you know what you need, because you've done the planning and preparation, because you know who you need to be. I need to be a farmer with 14 fields or 3. So you've done that work. So you're not chasing shiny objects. You're not doing anything untoward. You're taking discerning action to achieve your goal. And actually, you're going to feel like it now, because you're going to, that period between the 1st of January and the 1st of February and the 20th March, you're going to start to feel chomping at the bit, and you're going to start to feel like, let me at it. And that's the right time to do that work, when you've got that energy and you've got that enthusiasm. And now the sun is like, it's glorious in the sky. So that whole from sunrise to sunset, or even from sunrise till the sun hits or reaches the highest point during the day, that's when we do the majority of our work. And spring is hard work. So if you want to sell 1,000 dresses, whatever it is for you, you might need to network your backside off. You might need to go to all of the buyers' fairs. You might need to do all of your designs. You might need to recruit all of your people, whatever it is you need to do. This is where we do like the ploughing, the tilling, the sowing, the watering, the keeping it warm and fertilizing. This is where we do the back-breaking work. We do it now from the 20th of March, but we're ready for that and we're prepared for that and we're geared up for that. So that comes naturally. You're taking discerning action to support our attention. And then we come to the 1st of May. And the 1st of May, we then move into the 4th phase of our super simple plan. And this is, we keep actually going, but we keep going and we trust now. we have to trust that your goal is coming towards you, because you've done all of the work that has like gone against just the hype. You've done all the work that's in line with the natural course of things, and all of your friends and all of your colleagues are like, oh, I've just done post-industrialized planning. I've done like it's a numbers game, numbers crunching, and I've ticked all of these goals off of my to-do list. And it's like, well, actually, I chose a really excellent quality big goal that's challenged me for the whole year. That's going to be one that makes up an amazing life, and so I'm going for that. So we're still doing the work. We are still 1,000,000% doing the work, but we're also activating our trust that the perfect intention is coming into form at the perfect time. So you'll also start to see it coming into form. So you'll start to see those, everything you've planted growing. You'll start to think, well, those people are phoning you back now who you networked with. You'll have started to see the first few, I don't know why I chose dress design as the example, but that's the one I've done. The samples on the models, you'll be getting feedback from potential customers. So you are now, it's coming real now. And so we're trusting that all of that planning we've done, all of that hard work, all of the back-breaking work, it's coming into form. We are definitely on track to achieve these goals, these 3 goals that we've set ourselves to do. Then we move into June, the middle of June. And this is where summer starts. So we get 2 or 3 things to do in summer. And what we do now is we move ahead with our intention. So basically we still keep working on our goals, but now their goals should be deep rooted. They should be ready to harvest in the next season. But we start to feel a lot safer and secure with all of the spring work we did. And we did the right work in spring because we set the plans in winter. And we made sure that we were the right person for that right plan, and then we did the work on it. We did the internal work, we did the personal development work, and then we did the external work, and now we're trusting. So what we're doing is we can now have work and play together. That's the first thing, work and play. We can then spend some time with our friends and family. We can go on holiday. We can rest our bones a little. We can feel warm within us. We can re-energize, and we can do all of those things. Or we say, those plants didn't grow. Those plants didn't grow. But it doesn't say beat yourself up over the head that those plants didn't grow. The actual wording is, I accept that my intention was not the best at this time, and I release it and course correct. How many goals do allow you to say, that this wasn't the right goal, or I don't understand, this was the right goal and I don't understand why it wasn't working? Everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason is yet. In a few weeks, months, I'll have hindsight and I'll know why this didn't work, but I don't beat myself up for it. And it says course correct now. So actually all of the work we did in winter, all of the personal development work is not lost. All of the work we did in spring, all of the hard work, all of the back-breaking work, that isn't lost. We can course correct. We can still work our way towards a harvest. We can definitely do that. And I'm going to be running quarterly planning days every quarter to make sure that everyone's on track with their goals. And so if this becomes you, and if you say, I accept that my intention was not for the best at this time, I release it and course correct now, then I'm here to work with you. We're doing that. You've got support, you've got a cheerleader, you've got somebody saying you can do this, you can course correct, and you can still achieve your goals. And I bet your bottom dollar you'll have achieved loads of mini goals underneath these one big goals that we are setting ourselves. Then we move into August. Let me know how you're doing with this, Michelle, because I feel like I'm sharing quite a lot of information, and I do love this information because we can achieve so many goals with this super simple planning, is by doing this true and tried method. So when we get to August, we then start to be thinking about harvesting and intent and gratitude. It says, I feel grateful that my intention is coming into form in the perfect way. So we are starting to reap what we sow. We are definitely harvesting now, and we're aiming actually to get all of our goal achieved by the end of October, the beginning of November. So we give thanks anyway. We give thanks every day because that's just best practice. When we show up as ourselves, as excellent human beings, we give thanks so many times a day, it's ridiculous. I used to teach Holly You can never say thank you too much. And even recently, I was talking to a client, and we can give thank you to so many things, a multitude of things, that actually we give thanks on a daily basis. That is just who we are. We're just excellent at being grateful. But now it's like we do even more so. And it's the time of year that we do give back, because now we've got that harvest. We can start to tithe. We can start to look at our communities. We can do the harvest festival. We can give to those who don't have it. So that's what we can do. So we're now moving into, it's not all complete. It's the 1st of August. There's still growing to do. There's still harvesting to do. But we start to feel grateful that your goals are now coming really into form. Those targets are starting to rack up. Whatever your goal was, it's like you may have sold 1 dress and 2 dress and 3 dress, but people have started seeing these dresses and have started to be in the designer shops, or you're just doing it on Facebook, as was the original example. But now your orders are coming in at 5 a day, at 10 a day, and you're signed up for next season. It's all coming together because you've done that hard work over the plan and the periods. And so by the time we get to September, when it's officially autumn, we say, now that I'm receiving, I give back from a place of abundance. So we do a heap of work in winter inside. So it looks like to everybody else you're not doing work, but we are doing work. The work we're doing is setting that true plan for us, and we're making sure we're the right person to execute that plan. We're doing all of the underneath work. We do loads of physical external work in spring, like we work our backsides off in spring to get our goal. And then in summer we work and we play, we work and we play, or we still work, and if we course correct, and play. And then we get to autumn, it's like we work again. We're harvesting now. We are making sure that we've not left any I undotted or any T uncrossed. We are now working to make sure that our plan truly is in fruition by the end of October, the beginning of November. And from that, we give back from a place of abundance. So we do give to that harvest festival. And then the final harvest is to be in by the 31st of October, which you'll know as Halloween. That is fundamental last harvest day, and which is why Halloween has so much superstition. And they used to believe that spirits would live then in the fields, so which is why it had to be in, otherwise spirits would live there. And that's why we also have bonfires, to make sure we would kill off any spirits. And because also the days are going to start to get darker now. From Halloween, it's like we're entering, we think, oh, we're fine because we've still got the sun in the sky. And remember, we're measuring it by how long it takes to get from solstice to solstice or equinox to equinox. And then we're measuring the day by sunset to sunrise to sunset. You think I get them right when you sunrise to sunset. And we're still thinking we've got loads of time because the sky's still hot. But actually, we're now entering into the darkest time of the year, because from Halloween until the 21st of December again, it gets darker and darker and darker and darker and darker, which is why the harvest has to be in. So we feel like but I've got this energy, I'm still buzzing. Well, we've got other plans for you. We've got other creative plans, we do. But it's time now. We can't harvest anymore because the harvest is in. So now it's time for reflection and resting and restoring and getting ourselves ready for the next season that's coming. And this reflection with thanks is also really point to say that harvest was a good harvest, or I did sell my 1,000 dresses, and I thought I was going to sell them all on Facebook, and I didn't. It did all end up in a designer store. So what would I keep with that from next year, and what would I do differently from next year? What did I like best about it? Did I like the people I worked with? Did I like the environment? Did I like the journey to work? Did I like the coffee they have in the machine? What did I not like? What would I do differently? Actually, I'd rather have a corner office, or I'd rather have a shorter commute, or I'd rather expand my horizons. I'd rather be launching in China rather than the Netherlands. I don't know anybody from either of those. I'm not meaning to offend anybody, but that's the season now that we're starting to do that reflection. And thank you for everything that came my way, and thank you for the opportunities, and thank you for the guidance, and thank you for the support. And so we're really doing all of that from the 31st of October. And if you think about it, because a lot of the people that I've worked with over these past 6 weeks, so from the 31st of October now to like yesterday, the 21st of December, the first few weeks we're just fine. It's like, yeah, it's fine. I've got loads of times. And now, like, honestly, almost everyone I've spoken to in the last week, I was like, I can't believe I left it so late. I can't believe I'm still doing this. I can't believe that it's like, we know Christmas is coming. It's the same date every single year and I'm up against deadline. Like, what happens to me? So we're not doing that this time next year. We're not. We are reflecting with thanks. We're resting, we're storing, and we're using that creative energy in other ways, in ways to leave legacies, in ways to make amazing memories with our loved ones, and in ways to enjoy the season of goodwill with all men. And that brings us throughout a whole year, of how we achieve our plans, how we achieve it from intention, how we get ourselves ready, how we take action, how we then make sure we're doing like the right action, and how we course correct if we need to, how we harvest, how we give thanks, how we rest and restore. So we go all the way through. It's like, it looks like there's no work, but we're doing the internal work. Then we do all this external work, and then we enjoy it. And then we've got loads of external work to do, and then we rest and we get ready for doing it all again the next year. It's a super simple planning method. There's 8 steps to it. I'm going to put the slides in the... Can I post them on a page as opposed to in a group? Anyway, I'm going to do my best to put the slides up. But if you've got any comments, any questions, any concerns, any quandaries, anything about how you are going to put your plan into those 8 phases, then do come, put them in the comments, email me privately, do whatever it is you need to do. But have a look then. We've gone through why have a plan, what's the natural method of planning, and why this method is super simple. You've got 3 goals, and each goal has these 8 phases. If you've got any questions about how you're transferring what you want into those few steps, then do absolutely 1,000,000% get in touch and let me know your thoughts, and because they will help everyone else who is doing this work and the questions. So part 4 then is what happens next. Now, lots of you, I'm delighted that you've joined me, Michelle, and absolutely do put any questions up, because you will be helping everyone else. The people who have registered for this mostly have been, yeah, I'm going to watch a replay, because we know we're busy right now. And I wanted to do it now because I wanted you to have access to it when you were ready to have access to it, when you've got some time, when we've got some time to do it. But we've had quarterly planning day now for yesterday, so we are definitely making our plans for choosing our 3 goals in the correct area that belong to you and no one else, that are everything you hope and dream of, everything that brings you joy, and only things that you love go in your plan. Take some time, take the solitude over the next wee while, find some space and time to undertake your plan, you know. And the reason we do that is so it's not anybody else's opinions, it's not anybody else's judgments, not anybody else's concern about what your plans are for you. You can come and share them in the group. Excellent. And Michelle says she'll go back to the start and catch up with what she's missed, and looking forward to planning her next year. And take that time for yourself and make yourself a really good plan, because if you fail to plan, then you're really just, you know, what you're saying is, I'm not worried about my whole next year, I'm just going to ad hoc it, and that doesn't make for an amazing life. And also there's supports and community, so you've got my support always, and I'm over in the executive strategy room, so I'll put that link here as well. If you've got any questions, you can obviously message me directly from my page, so I'm not unavailable to you. There's greater support in the community, so come along for that. And also, you know, keep being brilliant at being yourself. Keep standing up for yourself. Keep speaking up for yourself. Keep shining at being yourself. Don't get overwhelmed with this. This is a simple, super simple method. Super simple. It's like we funnel it all down. You choose your 3 goals. We take those 3 goals. We measure them out over a year. And because if it's any more complicated than that, you're going to get distracted, you're going to get off track, you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get confused. And we need you to be brilliant at what you do. We don't need you to be brilliant at planning. We need a super simple plan underneath to support you and keep you strong. So don't stay stuck. Any questions, anything at all, then do come along and ask. Something else I was going to say there, and it's passed me by, so I will need to add that in when it comes. So do please put any of your questions or your thoughts on anything we've covered in this masterclass. Now, that was it. I am going to do another masterclass in the coming weeks, probably between Christmas and New Year, because this is really excellent. Like I've said, it's super simple. So super simple, have a plan. Super simple, make it a natural plan, so you don't need to learn any other terminology. You don't need learn another way of organizing your day unless you want to. You don't need another planner. That's super simple. Do it out over the years. Know when you're to do your personal development work, when you know you need to do the bulk of the work, when you get your rewards for your work. Make it super simple. And that's for your top 3 goals. Now, the next masterclass I'm going to do is all the other areas that we're going to look at over the year. So I don't want you worrying and just saying, I've got community goals or creative goals, or I've got relationship goals and I've got this goals. They're all covered. And actually, they're not goals, they're roles. And that's, I'll just explain the difference in the next masterclass. So the goals are things that you have for you, and then your role in society, your role as a mum, your role as a partner. We're going to cover them all naturally over the course of the year. So that's why we don't need to worry or panic that this super simple method isn't going to cover everything we want. We are definitely going to cover everything you want. But for right now, we're just asking you to take those top 3, and we're asking you to put it into this super simple planning method. So that's everything from me. Everything. I trust that was of help and use to you. But please do, if you're watching the replay, I may well pop this up on YouTube and put it in the comments. Any questions, any thoughts, I'm here to help you. So that's Karen Mary Wilson at Quest for Success. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes, see if you've got anything else. Oh no, Michelle's popped off. Oh, maybe on, maybe off. See if there's anything else before I say goodbye. That'd be lovely. Right, so if I don't see you before, have a super wonderful festive season, and I'll be back with another masterclass before the new year. Okay, see you soon. Bye.